not just Zayd Atkinson, but his support of racist hate groups. He almost did the right thing. But he decided that between doing the right thing and joining a racist hate group to sell a racist narrative, that he was going to go for the racism. What a piece of shit. Yes, he was a victim of Boulder Police Department. No, it wasn't because of the color of his skin. Now you get to see also in the comments of these Zayd Atkinson videos how they paint him as a victim because of his skin color. Oh, it's because he's a black man who's not complying. Really? So that's okay to do to a white man who doesn't comply? What are you insinuating? Because you'll let them do it to the homeless. Nearly every single black person who commented on those Zayd Atkinson posts has typed hateful anti-homeless rhetoric. Well, Zayd Atkinson knows that he was harassed because they thought that he was homeless. He knows this. He almost outright said it until he was convinced to sell a false narrative by a racist hate group. The very racist hate group, BLM, that is selling this hatred nationwide, telling people to ignore any and all white victims because white people don't matter. White people can't be victims because they're white, and so on and so forth. They will make comparisons only between black victims and rich white people. They will literally ignore every single white victim who shows that their rhetoric is BS. They tell those victims to go to the back of the bus. While BLM tries to sell a narrative that they're the most marginalized people in America. No. Men are the most marginalized. Now, per capita, the homeless are the most marginalized. And then men. And then former foster children. And then the disabled at 51%. Color doesn't even enter into it until 7 or 8 on the list. Black people are the most marginalized? Don't lie to me, I'm a homeless person. I know better. I live it every single day. Every single day. Well, you tell the victims that they deserve it. You pretend that because they're homeless, they must be a druggie, or must be a criminal, or must have chosen it, and that is your validation for the evils that you commit every single day. What Caitlin Tatum did was evil, and she doesn't care. She just doesn't want people to listen. She doesn't want people to know that I went to her for help, and she blew me off and tried to push me to commit suicide. She didn't want to listen to it. She didn't want to care. She wanted to, well, make any excuse. Pretend to go through the motions. As long as she could do it without admitting her own wrong. As long as she could do it without actually telling the truth. No, that's not acceptable. I told her I was going to show the truth no matter what. You tell it or I show it. King of Nichols, you tell it or I'll show it. It's King of Ferguson now, I believe. You tell the truth or I will show it. Every single person who claimed to care about me showed that they don't. Showed that between listening to me and dismissing me, showed that between listening and talking over me, no matter what I have to say is not worth hearing. You're not going to listen no matter what. You're only interested in analyzing or offering justification for my predators, talking to me like I'm too retarded to know what abuse is. Meanwhile, you show that you're too retarded to know what abuse is. Oh, wait, no, you're not. You're not too retarded. You're playing stupid because you don't care. Why would you stick around on my Facebook and pretend to be my friend when you won't admit that I went to you for help about abuse and I'm being abused further because of it? You want to claim to be my friend, but you're going to let me be abused over slander. No, you're not a fucking friend. How many years did it take Ariana to admit to me that I went to her for help? Meanwhile, it's recorded that I went to her for help. Why didn't Ariana help? Why didn't Ariana help me to turn it in? Well, according to the cops, it's because I didn't try to get help, and probably because of the way that I acted. Now, according to Ariana, it's because Ariana was going through hell of her own, including being raped. Who got heard? The liars. Why? Because the liars tried to get heard. While my predators made an effort to get heard and ganged up on me and worked together to do this. Not one of my friends cared to look or try to understand. They wanted to pretend that it's like somebody looking at you funny. Yeah, people assaulting you is not people looking at you funny. I'm sorry, I'm packing up everything to leave. You guys close at midnight.
I'm not worried yet. It's all good. How are you doing?
Hopefully I get paid on the 1st. Until then, I'm not doing good. I still don't have any friends or family to help me. I don't have any place to go. I'm just glad I got folks at Denny's treating me good. And the folks at Starbucks treating me good. The one person who's mean here is easy to avoid. The one person over there who's mean, she's not dumb enough to be mean with the other assistant managers there. So
There you go.
I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'll be able to move out of the parking lot on payday. My beef won't be legal, but I'll at least have gas money. Nowhere to go.
I have a problem with you. Not at all. Thank you. You're welcome.
I am 100% for assistance. If I had my way, Natalie's killer would have walked free. Well, the man who pulled the trigger would have walked free. Not the man who killed her. If I had my way, Ted Bollinger would never see the light of day. If I had my way, I'd find the biggest, meanest man that I could who was in prison. With the biggest penis. With a history of sexual violence against men. And I'd put Ted Bollinger in his cell. And then I'd put headphones in, put earmuffs on, and jam out to The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Full blast. And then after that, I'd jam out Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly. The unedited, raw, real, and uncut version. I believe a 37-minute rendition of a 27-minute song would be sufficient. By that time, the whole encounter should be over. It should be silent. I should be able to take my headphones out. Of course, I'm not a prison guard. I'm not a prison warden. I'm just a victim. Will never be heard because he doesn't matter. You get to hear from all these folks on Zayd Atkinson thing, all of their hatred towards the homeless, how no police officer would ever possibly do that to a homeless person. It must only be because he's black. No, they have a history, especially since the situation was on Jean Benet and the 3 mainstream media rapes in the 90s. Ever since then, Boulder Police Department has had the reputation of covering up for rapists, especially if they are CU students or alumni. Especially if they're part of the academic program, because the academic program can't take another hit like that. So, Teresa Massilia's rapist got away. They charged Teresa Massilia with assault because she tried to fight off her predator, the man who raped her. She felt more violated by the police than she did by the man who literally forcibly raped her. The police wouldn't take a report from her. They charged her with assault, locked her up, and destroyed her future. Then there's another young woman in Boulder, Colorado, who was raped. She was afraid to fight off her attacker. Why wouldn't she, especially with Tracy Macelia being charged with assault for defending herself against her assailant? Matter of fact, one of the officers who assaulted me over the Natalie Bollinger situation, Tracy Macelia speaks about that very same officer. And so does George Helmstetter. And that other woman, what happened to her? Well, she was going to school to be a doctor. But she was raped. She tried to turn in her rapist, and because she didn't fight back, they charged her with false reporting. Nobody has ever made any attempt to investigate any of my allegations or predators. Nobody has ever assisted me in turning in the evidence against me. That coffee's cold. You know, you guys can try to pretend like because somebody said something that it means they actually did it. No. The problem here is that they didn't. They lied. They said that they would, but they misled me intentionally. They had no intention of helping me to turn these things in. They only intended on wasting my time. And later on, when they claimed that they were never intending on helping me to turn it in, well, that's in direct contradiction with what they said at the very beginning, was that that's literally what they were going to help me with. They were going to help me to get a safe place where I could process the evidence and turn it in. People didn't want to understand what a safe place is. I have to figure out where I'm going to live, because what you are asking me to do, the things that I have to do as an at-risk adult, whose guilt is assumed because of the term mentally ill. Every one of my predators played on that. I was denied the right to turn in my predators over and over. And my predators, being as I am a homeless person, most of them have badges. Every single person in the United States deserves to be beaten profusely about the head and neck over and over and over again for the crimes that they have turned a blind eye to happening to the homeless. There is not a single black person in the country living in a house who has any right to speak about what they're going through if they're going to turn a blind eye to the homeless. Not one. I don't care what color you are. If you're turning a blind eye to the homeless, you deserve to be beaten. You deserve every single piece of abuse that you have ever endured in your life. Do you know why? Because you're turning a blind eye to those things happening to other human beings, but you want to whine about piddly stuff happening to you. You want to tell a woman out on the streets who's beaten and raped 5 times a month because she just needs to let it go, because you, who was raped once 20 years ago, were able to get over it. And if you can get over it, anybody can. No, bitch, shut the fuck up. When a woman comes to you who's homeless about abuse that she's going through, you women with your us women got to stick together. Magically, that dissolves when she's a homeless, don't it? She's not a woman anymore. You will do this, oh, us women got to stick together for a predatory woman in a house. You will do that for a fucking junkie in a house. You will help out a junkie in a house and then pretend that their victims are junkies because they're homeless. You will use the fact that you pretend that they're junkies because they're homeless, right? So it's okay for you to pretend that somebody's a junkie as an excuse not to listen to him. Meanwhile, you will listen to the actual junkie, and you will abuse an innocent man because an actual junkie that you know to be an actual junkie wants to pretend that that man is the junkie. Then you don't bother with seeing what it is that that man's saying. What you'll do, though, is you'll go and you'll harm that man because she says he's slandering her. Well, guess what? What did I say about Natalie? What part of that was slander? Show one fucking part that was slander. One. Nothing that I said about Natalie Bollinger before she died was slander. Not a goddamn thing. Her autopsy report showed she was strung out on fucking drugs, stupid. She wanted you to believe that was slander, but then she got her brains blown out and they did a tox report. That's right, the dumb cunt was on heroin, like I fucking told you. Now y'all know me, I'm not sexist. If you're a man who does that, I'll call you a dumb cunt too. Yeah. Somebody smoked a lot of tobaccos tonight, and only half of them are wet. This is fucking badass. Yeah. Let's just hope I don't get busted looking through the ashtray. That's kind of a fear of mine, because a lot of people are not fucking okay with that. Of course, I do come by at least twice a day and put the lid back on the goddamn thing. It's because other people open it up, pull out the tobaccos, but never put the lid back on. I got like 14 minutes to get all my shit out of here. I think I can. I got a panhandle tomorrow morning and try to make some money. So I go into the Starbucks and not feel like I'm doing something wrong by not being a customer. I know what the policies are and that I don't actually have to be a customer, but the Starbucks in Boulder, Colorado, yeah, you kind of had to. If you didn't, the whole place would be full of homeless people all winter long trying not to fucking freeze to death. Try not to get frostbite. None of these agencies are going to do their jobs without civilian oversight. Every single one of them is going to break the law if it's just you as a homeless male, because they already know nobody cares. If anyone cared, I wouldn't be homeless, and they fucking know it. They know who it is that they can victimize and get away with it, based on you, the American public. Do you want to believe the slander, or do you want to look at the truth? You just want someone to hate. You are too much of a fucking pussy to turn in your dad. And here's this free victim that nobody's going to care if you harass him. Nobody's going to care if you threaten him. Nobody's going to care if you harm him. None of you predators can harm me worse than my friends did. Between Natalie Bollinger and Candace Bondurant, you don't get worse friends than that. It's not possible to get worse friends than that. Not only did their lies make me a target and deprive me of everything in my life that meant a goddamn thing to me, deprive me of the ability to see my friends and family, to have access to my long-term support network. Because Natalie Bollinger wanted to slander my name when she got busted doing something fucked up. Because Candace Bondurant wanted to slander my name when she got busted doing something fucked up. See, unlike these internet nut jobs that I had to just hope and pray that there was one of them that wasn't a complete and total piece of shit, I knew Natalie Bollinger in real life. I knew Candace Bondurant in real life. Candace Bondurant did what I expected her to do. Hope for the best, expect the worst. I did hope for the best, and she showed me the worst. I tried to get help with being able to record this stuff before Natalie was killed, because no one would listen. Maybe if I was able to send Natalie screenshots of the threats against me, maybe she would stop and realize what she had done and have some remorse over it. But nobody cared. All of my friends, between finding out what was going on and literally going out of their way to say and do the things that push people to commit suicide, every single one of them showed me that they would rather I kill myself than actually listen to what I had to say, than actually listen to the abuse that I was going through. That's how it really is when you're a male who's being abused, especially if you're homeless. Zayd Atkinson was confused with a homeless person. Just like Zayd Atkinson, he showed himself to be a hate monger, a hater of the homeless, someone who was willing to throw all of the victims under the bus, because selling a cheap narrative for an easy win is more important. You compromise your morals, you don't get to talk to me about morality. You get my friends' heads blown off, you don't get to pretend like you're the good guy. It just ain't happening. I left my stuff in there a bit too long and got talking too long, so it's gonna take me a couple of trips to get my stuff out. Should have paid closer attention. The thing is, even with overwhelming evidence that my predators had a history of doing these things both before and after doing them to me, you still won't listen to me. My friends still won't look at the evidence that my predators, the ones that I have been speaking out about and trying to show them what's been going on with. But none of my friends will look. Only my predators look. Only my predators care. Only the people who seek to harm me ever give a shit. I keep saying my friends as if any of these people care if I'm harmed. They don't. The term mentally ill is used to discredit victims 100% of the time. There is not a single instance where the term mentally ill is accepted. And any of you who want to use the term mentally ill to describe yourself are idiots who are shooting yourself in the foot and harming every other disabled person in this country. Every time you allow the term mentally ill to be used instead of disabled, you are harming the victims. You are harming every single disabled victim, every single one of them. Every time that you allow a school shooter to be called mentally ill, you are allowing a false narrative that is making every single one of us a target. Discrediting every single one of us to the American public. Making the American public paranoid of us. Paranoid. And so you literally kill us.
you kill us for trying to get help. People tell us that they care, but then, of course, when it comes time to do actual friends and family things, they don't have time. They can't pretend that they care if they're going to let you be beaten repeatedly, if they're going to let you be incarcerated on false charges, if they're going to go out of their way to talk over you over and over and over and over, and then say that they're your friends and they're trying to help you. They're liars. If they were trying to help you, they'd listen and they'd help you turn it in. They wouldn't try to convince you that you need to move again and spend a bunch of money and tell you to go to free services that aren't free and don't help unless you are involved. But are you going to get involved? No. You have too many excuses as a selfish person like Caitlin Tatum. Too many excuses. Can't do your job as a friend or as a mandated reporter. You can't do either one of them without showing that you're complete and total fuck up. Jesus goddamn Christ, Caitlin Tatum. For such an intelligent person, you're dumb as a fucking stump. I got an IQ of 172, Caitlin Tatum. I grew up in the system learning this shit. You went to what? A couple of college classes. Okay, fine. The shit that you learned in 2 months of college classes that you have to try to retain that information, I got drilled into my head every fucking day in the system. I know this shit inside and out. I didn't have to fucking read it from a goddamn script, you dipshit. And you're supposed to be the one who's a mandated reporter. There's a lot of people in Nebraska want to argue with me and claim that they're not mandated reporters. Liar. If you live in Nebraska, you're a mandated reporter, stupid. Are you that mentally fucking retarded to believe that you can just make up the law? That you can just lie about what the law is and I'm just supposed to believe you? Are you fucking insane? You must think I'm retarded if you think I'm gonna believe that shit. And if you think I'm retarded, you have no respect for me. You guys want me to believe that you are going to help me when all you do is disrespect me. Show me that you have zero respect for me by repeatedly talking over me over and over and over again. Sure, you can say you're sorry once, but then you need to actually help them. If you say you're sorry, I expect to change the behavior out of you. If you're going to say you're sorry for being a piece of shit and go right back to being a piece of shit, you're not sorry for being a piece of shit. You're just being a condescending piece of shit. Caitlin Tatum? What kind of a friend ignores a friend for 6 years? And then repeatedly talks over them to make sure that they got everything that was on their script said. Oh, I wipe my hands clean. I said everything I was supposed to. No, actually, you said everything that you're not supposed to. Because if you listen to that, when she says those things, she makes sure that she rapid fires them. And probably about a minute period of time, she makes sure that every sentence that I speak, she interrupts me again to rapid fire another one of those at me. She is literally at that point going out of her way to literally interrupt me every time I try to open my mouth.
There is no greater disrespect than that. All she cared about is making sure she said what was on the script. When you are talking over the victim, nothing you say is okay. When someone is trying to tell you that they were just assaulted, and then you interrupt them to say you're sorry, that's okay. When you say that you're not going to invalidate them and that you are going to listen, from then on, you need to be listening. Not waiting half a sentence so that you can say, I'm sorry, again. Out of the 6 things or 7 things that are on that list,